Hi. 9 months ago, I pointed out Novavax, NVAX symbol, as a potential multibagger. Why? Three reasons. First, because the company business is predictably cyclical and was then at a rock bottom. Second reason, the company has spent a fortune on R&D over the last 3 years, so it had a bunch of medication in its coffers. How much did it spend? Total sum? Novavax had spent an enormous $4.7 billion on R&D the last 3 years. For 120 million shares outstanding, that works to $38 a share. Remember, the stock 9 months ago was at $7. Usually, successful R&D leads to a stock valuation several times the R&D figure. Remember Meta? Meta, which I also pointed out to you, there the huge R&D created a 5-bagger in a year and a half. In Novavax, it created a 3-bagger in 9 months. How much more can it rise? That's the third reason I pointed out Novavax. The reason is the method I came to the conclusion. Stay tuned to learn this method. As I said, the stock is up 3 times from 7 to 20. What is the target? $140 eventually. Or maybe only 40? Or maybe only $1 or $2? Why any of these prices? For this, you have to learn a new way of looking at stocks. It's called handicapping. It's similar to how horse bettors and poker players do it, but be careful. The method doesn't come instead of sleuthing a company physically. It is only an add-on. It aims to discover a stock's typical behavior, or using poker language, its tails and head fakes. Still keeping to gambler's language, it's just as a horse racing pro handicaps a horse race. That is, the method aims to put the investment as a bet with a percentage probability of happening and the possible gains and losses for each also in percentages. For instance, a horse handicapper looks at the previous races of this horse, whether it won more on grass than on gravel, in this or that kind of weather, and so on. In poker, the hand you are dealt matters, but so does your estimation of the opponent's hand and of his propensity and ability to fake you out. Let's get back to stocks and take a look at Novavax with handicapping in mind. What does the company do? The company makes vaccines or vaxes for flu. A flu season lasts 2 to 3 years before a new flu comes along. When the new flu season arrives, it requires this new vaccine. So as the flu hits, Novavax makes a small fortune on the vaccine it sells and the stock soars. But then the flu passes and the stock declines as the company spends most of the fortune on the next vaccines. Rinse and repeat, up and down, up and down. So the stock cycle resembles the flu cycle. It lasts typically 2 to 4 years. Look at the chart. Then freeze it on the screen or print it if you want. Here it is. The following comment refer to the chart. Since its inception, the stock had 8 cycles, as you see. In all of them, the bottom varied, but in general kept going lower. However, the stock peaks always surpassed $140 a share. And 3 times it reached 280. Wowza! If you could catch these swings, you could make a fortune. But could you? I had caught part of the upswing after COVID by handicapping it, which is why I have a soft spot for the stock. So let's go to the handicapping, or putting percentages on the chances of gains and losses. But again, remember, the following is applicable only for companies whose business has a fairly predictable cycle, which leads to a fairly predictable stock behavior. Now you may ask, how can you know that a company has a business cycle at all? You got it. You must sleuth it physically, because that's the basis of all market profit, with or without handicapping. You can't make a fortune staying glued to your internet. Now back to the stock chart. As you can see, in Novavax, almost every stock cycle bottom was lower than the previous one. As I said, almost. Yet, whether it was lower or wasn't, the stock always reached eventually $140. But if the bottom wasn't lower than the previous low, which happened 3 times, the stock reached $140 only twice. The third one, the most recent, the stock crept out and fell much more before it rose. In other words, it was a head fake. So, when I pointed out 9 months ago Novavax at 7 that the stock can shoot to 140, it was an iffy call, partly because the stock was then not below its previous bottom. It was level with it. Therefore, the chance for a rise here, which we got, was 2 out of 3, or in today's terms, 2 out of 4. since we must include also the current occurrence. The question now is, will the stock today reach 140 in this cycle before crapping out? Or will it rise only a bit more, then fall a lot? Judging by the past behavior of Novavax cyclical business, I'd say the chances today are 2 out of 4 for either. But yes, there's also 2 out of 4 chances the stock will plunge below its previous bottom, which means the stock can fall from 20 to $1 or $2. Oops! That's an upside of perhaps a double from here, as in the last time, but a downside of 18 and 19 on a count of 20, which means almost a total loss. The upside of the 140, by the way, would still likely come, but only after a hair-raising iffy plunge with a 50-50 chance. That's the stock put in handicapping terms. Again, remember, the chance of the stock reaching 140 eventually is still 8 out of 9. Why 9? Again, because you have to count the previous 8, all winners, and the coming one, which is still unknown. So, to sum up, the stock has 88% chance of rising to 140 from 20 today, but it also has the chance of falling first to $1 or $2 with a 50-50 chance. The above numbers should help you decide how much, if any, to risk on the stock today. That's handicapping for you. So what to do now? For this, you have to do some sleuthing of your own to get a more precise fix on the company business here, not by numbers, but by things that cannot be encapsulated by numbers. As for handicapping, if you want to see more how it works, get any book for horse handicappers and see how they do their thing. Or see the best book for both poker and horse gamblers. It is one written by David Slansky called Getting the Best of It. Many hedge fund managers swear by it. Now remember again for the last time, handicapping is only meant to give you a firm footing of putting your investing in terms of probabilities, but you still have to sleuth the race physically. And how do you do that? You got it again. Get my 2 books, The Sleuth Investor, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and see how to sleuth the stock. And now some profitable homework for you. Take what you've just learned and apply it to 2 other companies with a fairly predictable business cycle. The first is the Canadian company Airbus, BOS-T symbol. Look at the cyclical stock chart and repeat the reasoning you've just learned. Then go through the company as per my books. You may see that today at 6, Airbus, BOS-T, can go to 40, perhaps even 50 in 4 to 5 years. That's an 8-bagger for you. Will it get there? That's up to you to find out via sleuthing. The other similar company is LivePerson, LPSN, a user of AI to help companies conduct conversation with customers. I have mentioned it before. From the chart, you could conclude that the stock at 60 cents has a chance it could go back to $60 or more. It's been there before, by the way, which is a 100-bagger. A 100-bagger in 6 years. Will it? Again, you got it. Do the handicapping calculation and then do the sleuthing physically to see whether it makes sense to you or not. That's all for today. Please let me know what you think of the above. Subscribe to the channel and retweet to all your subscribers and friends so they subscribe to and buy my books, The Sleuth Investor, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and give them a review on Amazon, which I hope will be a good one. I'll see you next time, and meantime, thank you very much for watching.